it's Tanya with Riley & Company, back with another Coloring with Tanya video in the series. This time we are going to address St. Patrick's Day and Valentine's Day. You're going to love it. Check this out. Yay, look at this. This was one of the very first sets that we ever came out with. In fact, I think it was our third set. It has hearts and shamrocks and beer mugs and all kinds of the fun stuff for Valentine's and St. Patrick's Day. Now, if you notice, I have this sheet in a plastic cover. This is my original that I made. I keep them nice and safe in a plastic binder cover, and I keep them in a book. When I need to use them, I pull them out and do a color copy. So simple. If I ever need to use the colors on anything else to match up, or if something happens to this, I always put all my colors right here. This is one of the easiest sets ever. I'm going to show you how to do plaid that you can use on anything, and this is a super quick set to go through. So let's get started. I like to do a lot of my colors at the same time, so let's start with our yellows. Now, I'm going to use a white 18 on this to start with, and I'm just going to do the entire shirt in white 18. I'm going to go around the edge. And then when I'm done with the edges, then I'm going to come back, and instead of going in lines, I'm going to use circles. Because when alcohol touches alcohol, it blends with itself, which is one of the reasons that I love alcohol markers. Is because they give you such a smoother, wonderful little line. Now our beer mug is also going to be this color. So we're going to color that in. This is such a quick little set to do. And let's work on the plaid here. This is a fabulous plaid to do. Now what I'm going to start with is I'm just going to run a yellow line down and a yellow line down and a yellow line and a yellow line and over here. And I'm going to just run along this bottom just in case. And then I'm going to bring another line and I'm not going to color the whole thing in. That's all I'm going to do there. I'm going to do the same thing with this plaid skirt. And I'm just going to bring that line here. Now, I'm going to make this hat green, so I'm going to make a little shamrock. Yellow. St. Patrick's is one of my favorite holidays of the entire year because you get to dress up in green stuff, which is one of my favorite colors, and you get to drink beer. And it's totally acceptable. I love it. So on the little beret, we're going to color that in. We actually get to scribble on this set and turn it into something wonderful. Love it. So that's all we're going to do. Now I'm going to write this color down. And it is my Y18. Now I'm going to bring in my second favorite color of yellow, and it is a Y38. I love this color. I'm going to leave my Y18 out actually. Now the Y38 is just a deeper color of yellow, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a great shade, or a great yellow to shade with, especially on the Y18. Just gives it a real deep, real rich color. So I'm going to use it just along the edges and under the arms, down here along this edge. Now this is a dress up set in our series of dress up, in our dress up line. And think of it as paper dolls. We have 6 characters at the moment that are our bases. Now for the shamrock, I'm going to come down in and just shade around the bottom. I'll explain that in a second, our little base animals here, but I want to show you this. Take this and we're just going to repeat the same thing, just in a different spot. Okay? Over here. And over there. Now this yellow I'm going to use on the inside of the shirt. So we're going to do that. Okay? And then along this guy. And on the skirt. So they're like paper dolls, back to my thought before I squirreled. They're like paper dolls, only with like super cute animals. We have a Moose Riley, of course, that's where we started. And then we have a cow and a bunny and a giraffe and a fox and little possums. And then we have about 40 sets that you can use as accessories to put on them and dress them up. Too much fun. So I'm going to go back with my Y18, my original color, and I'm just going to pull some circles in, and you will see the power of alcohol on power. Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? That's the only one I'm going to, we might do a little there. I need to write down my Y38. Now I'm going to take my green and I'm going to finish my plaid. So I'm using YG07 as a bright green. I love this color. It's one of my favorite colors. And I am just going to intentionally, I'm going to take a little more diligence with this and do that straight line. I'm going to come down on that and that. And now I'm going to come across, but I'm making sure that I'm tackling all of the white areas. So it looks random, but it's really not. And then I'm going to come across this way as well. And look at that, we have plaid. How fun is that? I would wear that shirt. We're going to do the same thing with the hat. I'm going to go along this edge, along the bottom, and then I'm just going to bring it up in the white spaces, and then I'm going to come along and do another one so it looks plaid, like that. I'm going to add green to the sleeves, and I'm going to do the little skirt. I love this little skirt because it's got the plaid. Now, Tucker is not, for those of you that know our line, we have a little dog named Tucker. He is not part of the Dress Up series, but I can take the skirts and trim off the edges and put it on Tucker too. It's hilarious. There we go. I encourage you to try these base sets on any image that you have at your house. You know, anything that you want to dress up and put little clothes on, like a little doll. And there we have that. Now let's just finish off our hat. And all I'm going to do with that is just do my outline. And I'm going to go around this. And now I'm going to use the same marker to shade with. That's all I'm going to do with this. So I'm basically going to pretend that my angle, the light's coming up here, so this is going to be darker on this side. And I am literally just going to go over it again, but only about halfway. And this green will blend beautifully right into the green that was already there, which is its color. And if you want to, just add a little bit more, do it a third time. I always come back along the edge with the light just to make the top stand out a little bit more. Now I made a little boo-boo. So I'm going to take my colorless blender. Okay, Copic calls it a C0. I call it a magic eraser. And I'm just going to push that color right back in where it belongs. You just use a pushing motion and just pretend you're pushing it right back in. I did the same right here with some yellow. Now you can use this to blend with, of course. It takes color out if you use it to blend. So if I wanted to take color out of here, I could spread it around a little bit up here and it'd make it look a little lighter. See how it did that? But it also pushes color back in. Just takes that color right out of there. So there we have it. That is all of the color that we need for the yellows and the greens. Oh, this was YG07. Now for this little color right here, I am just going to take E13 and just color that in, make it look like a little leather patch. And that's all we need to do for that. And they're ready to dance and drink. Look at that. Oh, I forgot my shamrock. What a travesty. So I am just going to color that in. Now all of the accessory sets have matching dies, of course. You guys can go to RileyandCompanyOnline.com and check them all out. When you first get there, you will see little circles that have all of the categories. Just click on the one that says Dress Up. And there we go. Now I'm going to use the same marker, and I am just going to come in down here and make it just a little bit darker. Ta-da! Now I made a little bitty error right here, so I am going to grab my C0 and just push that color right back into that shamrock. These colorless blenders, I have several. I have them ever. I love them. Those and white pens. These jelly roll pens, white jelly roll pens, they're fabulous because you can use them to enhance the light shadows. Can you see that? I hope so. I hope so. And you can do that. We can use some on our glass to make it look reflective, and right up here on the corner of our shamrock. All right, folks, all we have left to do is our reds and our pinks, and this one is in the bag. Oh, I forgot to put this down, sorry. Cannot forget to write the colors down. I do it quite often. So that was E. Oh, oopsie. I think I used E17, didn't I? I don't remember. Nope, I used E13. Okay, it's not as dark as I really want it, so I think I'm going to come back with an E17 and just go on to, there's the color I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. So we're going to scrap the E13. We're going to go over it and make it E17. Now let's use the reds. I intentionally left the reds for last because reds they have a lot of pigments in them. And they tend to, let me get rid of this bright mark that we have there. There we go. The reds, if you touch any of them, they tend to be a little cranky. So I save them to the end in case I move on top of them or over them with my hand, and that way I don't make a mess. So the two colors of pink that I'm going to use on this are RVO2 and RVO4, and the two colors of reds that I'm going to use are R27 and R29. So let's do the pinks first. Let's make this little heart here pink. Now you can make this a candy heart if you want. And you can write any saying you want on it. Okay. Now I'm just going to color it in, and I'm going to go back over this edge again. That was RVO2. You can also take the little smiley face in the sets and you can stamp on it, or you can use the love you and stamp on it, or kiss me and stamp on it. Now let's go down here, and this love is going to be red, so I'm going to go ahead and just color over it. Not the arrow, but just the love part. And yep, so that is all for RVO2. Now let's take our RVO4. We're going to bring it in up here and bring in a little shading, right? little shadow, and I'm going to bring it in along the bottom just a little bit. But I'm going to come back with my RVO2 and blend so it's not as harsh. There, that's beautiful. Let's do this along here, along the bottom. And use our O2 and blend it back in. Yay! Now I want to use the 04 since it's a nice, fun, bright pink. And I'm going to go over my letters with it. Now, most of the dress-up sets, in fact, I think all of them, have different designs in each set that do not have to be used on one of the basic dress-ups. You can just use it as a standalone stamp. Like this Be Mine. Let's do this Be Mine too. Now when you're doing little baby things like this, barely touch the paper with the tip of your marker. Barely, 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 barely touch it. Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit more down here and give it a little more depth. And all we have left is our red and our gray. Now, I'm going to grab my gray first and do this arrow. And I think I'll use a C1. That is because I'm going to do my reds last. I don't want to accidentally come up with my gray and touch the red because they tend to smear or bleed a little more than any of the other colors. And I think it's because the pigment in the red is so potent, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'll do my little arrow. Then I'm also going to use my C1 and come down just along the foam just to give it a little definition. Sometimes I use a product called liquid applique, and you squeeze it on and then you use a heat gun and it pulls it all up. Great for beer foam. Finally, let's use our reds. Let's start with 27. And I'm just going to go around. I'm not going to hit those little white marks. That's what those are. And I'm doing it very carefully because the magic eraser doesn't like to work on red. So I try not to mess up with it. Now there's lots of different alcohol markers out there that you can use, either Spectrum. There's all kinds of different colors. Now this is going to be my red solo cup. I'm going to make it red. And I am going to make the edge, this little frilly lace is going to be red as well. And oh, you have to be so careful when you do this. So very careful. I'm barely touching the paper, barely. Now you can take the red again if you're feeling pretty brave and go over the word love. Very carefully. And we have that finished. But wait, there's more. So now I want to shade this. Shade my little balloon. And this is so cute when you stamp, 7 or 8 of them and you hang little strings from them and put them in someone's hands or one of our little dress up characters' hands. They're so cute. But I'm going to really shade this guy. So it's already telling us that this is the top and the light part. So I'm just going to use the same marker and add that round of shading. Okay. that is our R27. And finally, I'm going to come back in with an R29 and just give it a little more shading. So I'm going to start down here. And I am going to go just a little bit up, well, maybe about a third of the way up. In a little circular motion, because you want to give the appearance that this is blown up, that this is a round image. There you go. Let's do a little here, because that's going to be a little darker, right? And a little on the edges here, and maybe carefully a little along the bottom. I don't like to tempt fate. And that's all there is to this set. This is RCLR04. If you would like, you can use a white pen, Jelly Roll pens. Love them. Already told you about that. But you can come back in and do a little bit more on that. And maybe along here. And maybe on the letters. And you can come back in and make the little lace. Just dot it and it will look like little lace dots. And then you can do a little on the letters. And there we have it. How simple and easy was this set? Make sure that you put this in a safe place, color copy it when you want to use it. And that's all there is to that. So thank you very much for joining me today. And I hope you go over to RileyandCompanyOnline.com and check out all the rest of the dress up characters and our accessory sets. So have a fabulous day.